Hey guys, welcome back to the studio. We just watched a crazy Gallente rush there. At the beginning it looked like it was going to go through and win, but then the Sleipnirs and Fleet Hurricanes came through and brought it back. Guys, what do you think? I mean, Reload, you were looking for a Sleipnir team.
Yep.
You got one. Are you satisfied?
I am actually quite satisfied, but it wasn't like a traditional rush setup. It was like a Minotaur kite setup with some control. You got Hurricane Fleets and Sleipnirs for the. It's basically an artillery setup. You just like alpha them before they can get reps, and kind of at the start there, it was a little shaky. But all the Gallente rush side, well, what it says on the tin, they definitely rushed, but unfortunately the damage on the Sleipnir was kind of fine for it to tank, and eventually it just snowballed and rip the Gallente rush setup.
Yep, so there we saw also the choice to shoot a Sleipnir over a Fleet Hurricane. So Tony, do you think that shooting the Slep first was a good call, or do you think that shooting the Fleet Hurricane due to the T1 resists, not being so insanely locally tanky as well as having the T2 logistics on it, do you think that was a good call, or do you think they should have chosen something else?
I think it could have been a good call. I think that what they really wanted to do is get those links off the field. If the Sleipnir they primary had the shield harmonizing link, for example, it's going to reduce the tank on every single other ship in that composition and make the Scimitar reps a lot weaker too. It is possible that they picked the wrong one. They might have had skirmish links. I don't know. I think they probably should have primaried the Hurricane Fleet issue. It seemed like they didn't have that much damage, because I would have thought like 2 Hecates, 2 Astartes, 2 Phoboses, a Deimos would just shred.
I mean, maybe maybe they're all blaster and they struggled with getting all of them onto target, because obviously blasters are such short range. I mean, Reload, speaking about artillery teams, made famous possibly, you might say, by Hydra Reloaded, the Warlords of the Deep guys, 2 years ago, a year ago, with the boom headshot videos that were great. What are the main concerns for an artillery team? What do you not want to face, or what do you need to be aware of when fielding that type of comp?
Definitely transversal and tracking. That is the biggest problem with these Minotaur kite setups, is that your tracking is not great. That's the problem with them. And if you go against maybe some like small fast ships that have low signature, you're going to have trouble trying to hit them, especially T2 Logi frigates. They have a sig reduction bonus. So it's going to be pretty tough trying to hit them. So that's a big no-no for these artillery setups. But what you're after in an artillery setup is small ships that can be headshotted quite easily. So maybe slow support ships that have quite a lot of sig. Things like that can definitely make an artillery setup really strong.
Yeah. So, Suetonia, we've seen today several setups that are very racially pure, you might say. We had a all Caldari team last match, we had an all Gallente team this time. Is bringing ships exclusively of one race a specific tactic? Is there a reason to bring all ships of one race, or does it just happen to be that they synergize well?
It's mostly the main reason why you'd bring all ships of one race is to try and counter ECM setups. Because whenever you bring racial jammers, you have to gamble between what you think your opponent's going to bring. You can try and maybe pigeonhole them into certain archetypes with your bans. So, for example, if you banned Guardian Aneris, for example, and then you bought ECM, you could rely on Caldari and Minotaur jammers a bit more than Amar and Gallente, Amar and Gallente jammers.
One of the things we saw in this match, we've been seeing it every match so far, I believe, is that we've seen a Neros Guardian bans. Reload, I mean, why do you think people are focusing on these bans?
Because they're just a strong ship overall to like having a setup. So if you get rid of, the thing is with the T2 logistic ships, they have very high resistance. So basically, if you bring a setup which has lots of drone bay, for example, you can just basically turtle tank your way to victory. You basically slowly wither them to death. I wouldn't say like a pseudo tinker, but like a bot tinker, I would like to think of it. So basically, you just swarm bots on the Aneros, and you maybe have an AA on the Aneros as well, and basically you just tank the enemy to death. So if you ban those T2 resistances, it's going to be a lot harder for this bot tinker, so to say, to work. Or they bring a shield setup, which is more bursty, but obviously overall ASB is obviously not very strong in the long term. They're very good for tanking very short amount of time, but over the long run they will eventually die. But with armor, you can just tank for days.
Our next match is a little bit of a mouthful. We have Curatores Veritatis Alliance against Losechnea Schlupen, which I know CCP Lilu will already be angry at me for pronouncing wrong, but still, two teams that aren't, the PL Exodus level, but two teams that I think are still very strong in their own right. CVA always do really well. Losechnea, we didn't see them last year, but we did see them the year before. They put an okay performance there. I want to actually pick on CVA first. We've got Jintan in the corridor just waiting, excited for his match. I want to say one of the great things about the CVA team is that they're known for being Amar role players. Project Deliverance in Providence, expanding the reign of the glorious new Empress, Cadiz, which we helped bring in the last FanFest. People expect them to bring an All-Amar team, and each year they seem to have an All-Amar team.
Have an Amar rush,
Exactly, and so people expect them to bring Amar, and maybe they'll bring Amar jammers, maybe they'll expect lasers, and maybe tank that way, and then CVA just won't bring a single Amar ship, and they'll roll over their opponents. I love it when mind games like that are involved. So Tony, tell us a little bit about your experience watching the CVA team, because they've been playing for several years now.
Yeah, CVA has always been a strong, mid-tier team, I'd say. They've always taken a lot of wins. They've always almost got close to the top 16 each time. Normally they've been eliminated by people like Hydra Reloaded, etc. Teams that are sort of at the top.
Yeah. I mean, currently I believe their captain, I believe his name is Davis. He's from the old 4th District team that we saw a few years ago. Not necessarily the strongest team in the world, but now he's got some experience. Maybe he's going to lead CVA to glory. As we said before, Jin Tan's on the team. He's one of the main FCs, also resident CSM member. Rilo, do you know anything at all about Losechnea Schlupen and what they do on Tranquility?
Yeah, they are basically live in Iridia, and they're just hunters. They're very good at it. They don't sleep because they're Russian. So basically, they're just hunters in Iridia, and basically they just drop solo super carriers that are traveling through Iridia, because Iridia in itself is a choke point region, so you will eventually have to cross there if you're from the west side, so Delve, Quirius, that type of area. So that's what they really do on TQ. On AT, they have some experience, so we'll see what they bring.
Fantastic. So yeah, I mean, between the Wrecking Crew, which is possibly more well known from Reddit, for example,
the Rusky Crew,
and Losechnea Schlupen, just don't even take your supercaps near the south. Just don't even bother. Don't go there. I'm really excited to see this match. We're having Rain Chocolate and Elise Randolph once again in the commentary booth. We haven't been able to watch them, which is a great tragedy for us, but I'm sure they're doing an absolutely fantastic job. Both great guys. After this match, we're actually swapping things around. We'll be having Rocket and Jintan coming in for the analysis desk. I believe, realize you have to go and play in your match.
I will be playing in the
and then for the commentator booth, we'll be joined by Chessor and Moderator. Now, looking at the matches later down today, we've actually got some really good ones this stream. I mean, I'm really looking forward to Tuskers versus Waffles, my old team. First time I did Alliance Tournament commentary, I was a part of the Waffles Alliance. How do you guys think Tuskers Waffles is going to go?
I think something might happen. I definitely think Tuskers will bring a standard setup, while Waffles might also bring a standard setup. I don't know. It's one of those teams that something might happen, but so we'll see.
It'll be really exciting to see, but for now we get to watch another exciting match. The next match coming up, it is CVA versus Losechnea Schlupen, coming to you right now.